Thanks, everyone. Also, on top of that, as a GE, I've spent the last 10 years in Victoria. This presentation is very much about Victorian geology, gold geology. Excuse me. There's the catch me if you can statement. So I'm actually starting with a bit of a summary slide. This is what I'm going to tell you. We're a 3-cent company with a 11.5 billion market cap and about 90,000 ounces in the ground. And the question I'll pose to you in the course of this presentation is our exploration upside valued correctly? Now, that's up to you to decide based on what value you put on the resource. Most recently, in our last drill campaign in the first quarter of this year, we intersected a zone of visible gold very near surface, about 85 metres deep, and that's focused us on this third image. That's focused our program from our most recent drilling, which is having the rig has arrived, it's set up, they've just filled the tanks, I got a text just then, and we'll be drilling from this afternoon. So here we are. I won't dwell on this. All those words at the bottom I'll cover in the rest of the talk. So we're 3.5 cents, 11 million bucks, 2 million bucks in the bank. And very importantly, we're gold only. We're a single jurisdiction, a single commodity, and a single project. So very easy to follow along without too much effort. So why NSM? We do have a good track record of putting money in the ground. We're very focused on Victoria. And we have tremendous Victorian experience at all levels. Great time to be in junior gold. It's been very hard done by for the last few years, and it looks like it's starting to lift now. Very importantly is what I said just before. We literally started drilling today on that high-grade gold target, which is 2.3 metres at 28.2 grams if you're struggling to find it on screen. There's the rig yesterday being set up. On the corporate level, there's a few probably familiar names there, Jerry Ellis in particular. I'm going to focus on Campbell this, but Alistair's a geo in his own right. But Campbell has experience starting a mine in Victoria. So the Stawell gold mine, he's been involved with that. So he's actually taken something back into production. I'm going to also highlight these two people. Unfortunately, Martin's not here. He's from GBA Capital. Couldn't make it, but Tony's our CFO. She's outside. Please have a chat to her if you're interested in the company. Another thing, very well, tightly held, 70% top 20. So this is almost going to be like video, some of this, so apologies for rushing through it. On this slide here, that's the only bit I really want to focus on, is how much previous work's been done. There's hundreds of thousands of metres of drilling and an awful lot of geophysics in place so that we can explore effectively. Here's our tenements. So it's the immediately north. I don't know if this, there's not even a laser pointer on this. We're immediately north of the Stawell gold mine, which is 5.3 million ounces historically. You can see the Stawell corridor. It's not just north of it, it's in the same geological zone. All the same things that happened at Stawell have happened in the rocks that we hold inside our tenement package. So it's about 504 square kilometres. And that brown colour on the image is got a thin veneer of unmineralised cover that masks the gold prospective rocks underneath it, which is why we need the geophysics. Now here's Victoria. We're the blue tenements off to the side, off to the right-hand side. I'm not going to go into the geology depth, I'll spare you that. But what I'd really like to point out, that top image there, you can see the white lines, they're faults. They're what channel the gold to the areas where it ends up after geology does its thing. Now, if I put that on the screen, the faults that generate the central Victorian goldfields are active across to Stawell. So what I'm trying to say there is there's no reason why the kind of deposits we see, Bendigo, Ballarat, that's that high-grade quartz orogenic gold systems, there's no reason why we can't see them in far western Victoria. And I'll show you some examples of why I'm pretty confident that might be right in a minute. The big difference for us is there's these rocks called basalts are put in place first. They don't move when the structures come through, so the gold ends up aggregating on the margins of them. If we can find the basalts, we can find the gold. And the good thing about basalts is they respond very, very well to geophysics, so we can track them through the cover. And just to destroy a little bit of dogma, Stawell it's the 5th largest gold field in Victoria, and it's in the modern era, it's the 2nd highest producing mine, so it has form. There's the fluids coming up the faults, if I didn't put that across before. Now this is Stawell. The green stuff is the basalt, the yellow stuff is the mineralisation. You can see that it's pretty much wrapping around the edge of it. So refer to the previous comment about find the basalt, find the gold mineralisation. There's the resource. We come back to that later if you're interested. But these are big systems. This is a 5 million ounce mineralisation system. We have an excellent suite of geophysics. This is it here. The main one to look at is the airborne gravity, the second one from the left. We've had tremendous success with that, finding additional deposits. Previous work has built a very robust project pipeline on the left and on the right. And what we're looking for is repeats of Stawell or stuff that might be attractive to the mill, the operating mill at Stawell. These are the 3 prospects that we're most focused on. Here's some results. I won't read these out. Wildwood has been a focus of ours. Not so much at the moment. We'll come to the project that we're focusing on in a minute. It's called Darlington. But there's some great results in there. Now, the resource doesn't quite match that, but there's some tremendous drilling results near surface. What we're going to look at in a minute is the Caledonia-Darlington, or the Darlington-Caledonia trend, where we see that there's this potential for higher grade gold. I'll just quickly touch on Wildwood. It's 87,000 ounces. It's from 10 to 40 metres below surface. It's 25 metres from the operating plant at Stawell. But it's not different enough from Stawell. It doesn't have enough volume, or it doesn't have enough grade. So to appeal to the mill at Stawell, which is a shortened pathway to production for us, we've got to find something different. And this might be it. So that red thing is the Mariners lodes that sit above Stawell. They fell off the radar a bit in the last 10 years, but we've reinvigorated them. This is a video of them, just to get an eye in on it. Very different. Quartz-rich, sediment-hosted, a lot of visible gold. That's the historic stuff. There it is there. I'll just skim through that. So now we're looking at the... this is Stawell in the bottom of that image, where the red and green is. The red lines are the Mariners lode, the stuff that we're interested in. The green is the Stawell lodes, where the mine's operating now. And up to the north, where the orange line is, you can see some red and green lines up there. So up at Darlington, we're seeing the same geology, the same architecture, and the same mineralisation that you see at Stawell. So we think we might be looking at a repeat. When we hit this most recent intercept, now we think, rather than a Stawell type or a Mariners type, we might be looking at an actual repeat of that same mineralisation, which is pretty exciting as a geo. So this spot here. So what I want to do with this slide is point out, I'm talking a lot about one drill hole here, and I realise that's dangerous ground. These are some of the results that we see in and around the Darlington area at Stawell. Things to look at here is the historic mining. Just look at the grades in this one. 21 grams, 18 grams, 77 grams, and some unknowns. And if we look at the drill intercepts, 1 at 12, 4 at 11, 2 at 20, 2 at 30, let's call it. So there's form. It's got form for high-grade results, and we're starting to pull this together now. So when we look at that, this is what we think is going on. There's 3.6 kilometres of strike length along the basalt that we're chasing at the moment, and there's these slightly different angle zones along the margin of it, and that's what we're exploring against. And for the geos in the room, we're seeing some really funky textures that we can't quite put in context just yet, but that sort of brecciation is pretty exciting for us. So here we are at Stawell again. If we just come into Stawell itself, that's a cross-section, there's a slice into Stawell. You can see the basalt in green, mineralisation wrapping around the margin of it, and then off up above it is the Mariners types. So splays that shoot off the top of it to near surface. So that's the model that we explore against. Just said that. And if we come into Darlington, these are the 2 holes that we drilled in February, March last year, 57 and 58. We're colouring 59 right now. And what you see is, well, it's hard to see. You're just going to have to believe me at this point. This is a very similar architecture to what we see at Stawell. We see the same rocks, we see the same mineralisation style, and we see the same structural setup. So if we were to zoom in on that hole, that middle tray is where all the good gear is. So there's 0.8 at 82 in an interval of 2.3 at 29. And we see, as I said before, all the same stuff that we see at the Mariners lodes down around Stawell. Coming in a bit closer, there's VG. That's what made us realise we're on something different. There it is close up. This would look so typical anywhere else in Victoria. If you've got this Bendigo Ballarat, it's just another high-grade intercept. But this is sufficiently different for us to focus on it really heavily in our most recent drill campaign. There's some more. The gold was circled green, if you didn't notice it in that one. And now if we go to our next hole, this is a bit of an aside. So this is 58. This target is totally generated with physics and maths. No surface expression. The geophysics showed it was there, and this maths process we used to work out which bits are more prospective than others said this is a good spot. So we had the opportunity and we took the shot. So we drilled that in March, and you can see we've hit basalt, and on either side of the basalt, on the basalt margin, we're seeing mineralisation. Now it's not a lot, but it's enough for us to get our tail up that this is a good target. Here it is here, and there's something really interesting. It's in that silvery stuff in that is a mineral called arsenopyrite. It's what hosts the gold. And you can see there's these little needles of it all through it. That is an absolute tell for gold content in some of these orogenic mineral systems, and I'm beyond excited that we're seeing that in these rocks. Keen to get back to that system. Again, brecciation, all sorts of geology happening there, but very highly altered and quite nicely mineralised. It's just over 6 grams. So when we come back to here, the basalt that we're chasing is that green blob on the right. So it's 900 metres long, 700 metres wide. We've put exactly one hole in it, and it's come back mineralised. There's a bumper sticker that says if at first you do succeed, try not to look surprised. This is it. It's been a tremendous result for us. There it is there, just zoomed out to the background. We have this data for the whole tenement package. And it's this confidence it's given us by drilling it and hitting it in our first hole means a lot of these other targets now come online. So the exploration upside from that one hole is quite exciting. So the mineralisation finds the fault. That's why we're interested in them. And then when it finds the basalt margin, it squirts up into the area that's opening up the most. That's essentially our target process right now. So what are we doing about it? Well, this is the basalt. I'm sorry about this, but it's looking south in this instance. I've turned it around just to confuse you. We're looking to the south here. You can see the Darlington trend. The red circles on the left-hand side, they're the targets. The far left side is where we got that high-grade gold. We're drilling underneath that right now and we'll stick a few holes in that. And then we'll probably turn the rig around and have another crack at that basalt off to the west. So because the intercept was at 85 metres vertical, it's allowed us to step right back to really simple exploration methods and look at the whole area. So this whole green thing on the right-hand side, that's the basalt. We're on this southern end where it says 2 pretty much. And what we've been able to do, because it's shallow, is start using geochemistry to try and trace where it goes. 2 reasons this is good. It covers a huge area very quickly, and it's really, really cheap. So we've done some test work across that. There's guys out in the field today collecting some more samples, and if it works, we'll migrate this information up to the north where it says 2 up to the top there, which is our Caledonia prospect, which has given us good results previously, and now in the context of Darlington, we might be on a slightly bigger system around that. Going forward from there, we've got plans for IP, a few issues getting the IP on the ground, but we're working on that. After the soils come back and give us the trend on surface, we'll bring in an air core rig and just define that near surface. And afterwards, when we know where that is, we'll bring diamond rigs back in to go underneath that again and see just how big this system can be. But in the short term, the immediate term, so let's say in the next 4 to 8 weeks, we'll start getting results back from these holes that we're drilling presently, because it is quite a shallow target at 100 metres down hole. We're also looking at a little bit of LiDAR to pick out some of the old workings that we weren't aware of further to the west. So there it is. This is our plan. We've got this fabulous project pipeline in that triangle spread throughout the whole belt. All the coloured stuff is what we've done. If it's orange, and what we're doing. If it's green, and the stars are expected news flow, going into the next 4 months. But at the moment, it's all about drilling and field programs and the news flow that generates behind it, with quite an exciting target in that high-grade intercept that looks quite like Central Victoria, but happens to be in the Stawell zone. Thanks, guys.